let's talk about the BJP's electoral juggernaut. Now, the BJP and the Modi-Shah duo transformed Indian politics. That's a given. But key to this transformation has been the BJP's booth strategy, which rests on what we're calling the booth naths, the party workers who mobilize cadres and voters to go and cast their votes. Joining me to discuss this phenomenon are Professor Chambi, Puranik, Banuchandar, Nagarajan, my colleague Kiran Tare from Mumbai, and my colleague Kartikeya Sharma here in the studio with me. Kartikeya, I want to start by asking you this. Indian politics before 2014, Indian politics after 2014. How has the BJP transformed the elections through its poll juggernaut, the booth naths as we're calling them?
I think two things are happening simultaneously. If we look at the equilibrium of politics from 1980 onwards, or even say 1989 onwards, the equilibrium was that, the match was evenly placed between the ruling dispensation and the opposition party. But very rarely that any government in power has broken political parties like that.
Yes.
Any government, perhaps barring 1967, has rearranged power at the state level.
Right.
An exodus of people from state to central party has taken place. Despite Congress being in power, it was always fashionable to leave Congress and chart a new course.
Right.
Mohan Dharia, Chandrasekhar, Chaudhry Charan Singh,
All the
earlier
young
than that.
Turks.
The Young Turks, Chaudhry Charan Singh though was not part of it, but then they left Congress and it was supposed to be the cool thing.
Right.
I think that the coolness has been reversed and most of the people are going back to the Bharatiya Janata Party, because I think power has become something very, very important for your career in politics.
Absolutely.
Continuous use of power.
Right.
Which was unlike 60s and 70s, people could stay out of power for 5 years and even
Yes.
10 years.
Yes.
The second thing is the art of booth management, which has become complex with urbanization, and BJP has been able to trickle down to residential areas, multi-housing societies.
Yes.
And I think that's going to be the biggest challenge
Right.
for the Congress party, because that organization of people around the booth
Yes.
is not confined to the electoral cycle. It is like a life thing. I'll share something with you. I thought, I'll do this exclusive myself, but I'll share this story with you. RSS has decided that this time they are not going to do direct participation in campaigning.
Right.
What RSS has decided this time is that in urban societies, they will organize, every person will organize, Karyakarta or Pracharik will organize a meeting.
Right.
So suppose, and how will that meeting be organized? That meeting will not be organized by him. He will persuade a person like you and me to organize a meeting of 10 like-minded people who are not actively part of BJP and RSS.
Right. That's the Amway model, isn't it?
And the conversation would be about
Right.
why Prime Minister is important
Right.
for India.
Right.
And this will continue. Then the other person would do that with other 9 set of people.
Yeah.
So RSS will not be directly doing it.
Right.
Now this sort of organizational impetus in which the primary person is absent tells you what RSS have been saying. हम समाज को इतना संगठित करना चाहते हैं कि हम समाज में खुद गायब हो जाएं.
Right.
So they are at that level at which they are going to fight this election. I don't know what will be the result of it.
Yes.
But if it comes true, then we are really looking at a huge majority.
Huge majority, and I think the Prime Minister's targeted that 370 and 400 par
I
and
think
all
400
that.
plus.
400 plus, first time since 1984. Professor Puranik, tell us how the BJP, has transformed this game of politics, as Kartikeya so beautifully explained to us. From the macro to the micro, and the fact that the intensity of electioneering is changed from a test match thing into a T20 and I think even a T10 if there's that format. But tell us how this thing is, whereas their opponents have been kind of in the test match era, the BJP has moved far ahead in terms of electioneering and campaigning.
Yeah, over a couple of decades, I think the Congress has lost in touch with the ground kind of
Yes.
connection or
Yes.
the connectivity which it had earlier.
Right.
Earlier,
Right.
because it took advantage of the freedom struggle. Though
Yes.
Gandhi said they should not use the name or title of Congress, all that is a
Yeah.
past history. But
Yes.
now, the phenomenal thing which I have observed for the last
Yes.
4 or 5 decades, which I have been observing and also teaching or commenting,
Right.
that it's amazing thing. 12 crore registered members of BJP party are enrolled, which Congress has not done it.
Right.
Congress took people for granted.
Right.
They had
Right.
advantage of the earlier past glory and also
Yes.
using Mahatma Gandhi. That's one thing. Second thing is about Bhutnas, which Pritesh mentioned. And that's a very clever mix of both the RSS
Right.
and also the kind of person who is not connected with RSS but agrees with the ideology of Congress.
Right.
That's the second point. So there, in Bangalore and other places of South India,
Yes.
I've seen the RSS workers are totally committed. They
Right.
don't have ambitions about their ideology or
Yes.
the leadership of the Prime Minister, the things that the BJP has done for last 10 years. These are some of the record things, including 370 and the things mentioned by you about Swachh Bharat and local,
Yes.
whatever kind of advantages for the
Right.
voters or women or even the general public also. So all that together, third thing is every day, myself and many others, who have been interacting about the state of whatever the dynamics of politics, but they say for every 10 minutes or 20 minutes, there is a kind of message or circular about countering the attack of the opponents, the
Yes.
India opponents or any other opponent or the local, the controversy that is there,
Yeah.
including the broadcast in Rameswaram cafe in Bangalore.
Yes.
That kind of view, I have not come across in the
Messaging, a
election.
very intense messaging that that's been put into play. But Banuchandar, this contrast between these two political machineries of the Congress and the BJP. We forget that politics, especially in democracies, is all about grassroots workers, and the BJP has managed to do that far better than the Congress. Its cadres on the grassroots have worked really well, and if I can actually use an intelligence analogy from the intelligence world, is when the United States started focusing more on technical intelligence rather than human intelligence. That's when they actually started getting surprised by terrorists like 9/11, classic case of that happening. What is the problem here between the two parties, the two GOP on the one hand, that's the Congress, and the BJP? The Congress was always a party of the grassroots. Where did they kind of lose the plot?
That's a good point.
A great question, Sandeep. First of all, we need to understand how the party structure feeds into the strategy. Okay, so
Right.
usually in organizations they have a pyramidal structure. There is a person
Yes.
on the top, CEO, a president, and then there are lower level officials and division of labor, etc. Even in this pyramidal structure, there are variations. There might be a
Yes.
franchisee model, right, where
Right.
where a franchisee can be totally responsible for everything. There's minimal
Yes.
interaction between the head and the franchise, right? So these are usually the structures. In Congress, it has been following the franchisee model. For example,
Right.
they'll say
Right.
they tell Ashok Gehlot, Rajasthan ko sambhalo, okay?
Yes.
And he will actually make sure that
The satrap model,
he
yes.
Yeah. So, but usually all political organizations, including the BJP in the past, have been following this pyramidal structure. But what has happened within the BJP post 2014 is a slight tweak in the pyramidal structure, where
Right.
the top of the pyramid and the bottom of the pyramid are the only things that matter. Top of
Right.
the pyramid is Prime Minister Modi and Shah, and bottom of the
Yes.
pyramid is the booth level worker.
Right.
So the middle is basically coordinating between the top and the bottom. They're basically bureaucrats. Okay.
Yes.
So they don't strategize. They only execute and they focus on tactics.
Right.
So that's the way we should understand it. So in terms of high strategy or financing, everything is taken care of at the top. At the bottom, like, people go and execute. So there's a division of labor between the brain and the hands. We can
Right.
put it that, right?
Right.
So that's why. So when Karyakartas or candidates, when they misspeak, okay, when they speak
Yes.
out of turn, they usually are punished because the face that they carry to all of these places is the Prime
Yes.
Minister's face, right?
Right.
So
Right.
this is the structure in which the BJP operates. But this structure is beautifully tailored to various states based
Right,
on whether
right.
they are strong or not. we can speak at it at length.
Absolutely,
if I
yeah.
have time,
And Kiran, I will come to you first because Kiran, you reported the story from the ground. But I want to ask Kartikeya one quick question. That's a very good point you made there, Banuchandar. This fact that how they've tweaked the structure. But Kartikeya,
You see,
Congress is
Can I just respond to
Yeah,
this?
yeah, of course.
You see,
Go ahead.
I look at differently than what Bhanu has explained. You see, one has to understand the basic DNA of the Congress party. It was a party of freedom struggle.
Yes.
And then various people with different ideologies tried to control it.
Yes.
The only time the stability within the Congress party came was when Gandhi took over Congress,
Right.
indirectly. But even then, those ideologies and points were represented through fractions.
Yes.
The best example in this case is Subhash Chandra Bose.
Yes. He was a far right faction.
Subhash Chandra Bose at that point of
Yes.
time was a leftist.
Yes. Right.
He was a leftist. And what was he fighting Gandhi with? He was
Yes.
saying that if I am the president of the party, I should be allowed to run it the way I am.
Yes.
And Gandhi was saying that you need consensus to run the party.
Right.
So Congress party was a party of mainstream. It was a party which stood on the, created a movement.
Right.
Now the people continued to leave Congress party.
Yes.
Very few people joined the Congress party. It was a party of a mainstream ideology.
Right.
Bharatiya Janata Party and RSS started as fringe ideologies.
Yes.
And I will not refrain from using the word.
Right.
Their acceptability even in
Their
1930s and
mainstreaming. Yes.
40s and 50s and 60s and 70s was not there. It mainstreamed after
Yes.
1984.
Right.
So the way they developed their organization was different. It was expected in the Congress that the management of faction
Yes.
would lead to a surge of vote.
Right.
Bharatiya Janata Party thought that it is not the management of the faction but the
Right.
management of the booth.
Right.
Management of the booth that would lead
Yes.
to winnability of the candidate. So that is why BJP evolved to micromanage a booth.
Right.
Congress over a period of time tried to evolve around managing the faction.
Right.
But for to manage the faction,
Yes.
you need a iconic person.
Yes.
The management of the booth
Yes.
is around the stickiness of an ideology.
Ideology and a charismatic,
Charismatic,
candidate.
you know what, stickiness
Yes.
of, if
Right.
tomorrow Narendra Modi goes away,
Yes.
the organization of booth will continue to function for 10-15 years.
Yes. That momentum is there
Momentum
that
is going
he's
to be
built
there.
up. Yes.
So there is a basic difference
Yeah.
in the DNA of these two parties.
Right. But Kartikeya, very quickly, the Congress also kind of realized somewhere in 2018 that it was missing the plot, and they came up with this Project Shakti, if you remember. Why did that just fizzle out?
See, they missed the plot because Congress has been engaged in resurrecting the Gandhis.
Yes.
One has to, I think, call spade a spade.
Yeah.
The entire
Yes.
energy of the Congress
Yes.
party from 2009 has been to make Rahul Gandhi the prime ministerial
Right.
candidate.
Right.
After that, the energy of the Congress party was to ensure the relevance of the Gandhis Nehru in the
Yes.
party. The entire approach of the Bharat Jodo Yatra was to
Yes.
reinvent Rahul
Reinvent
Gandhi.
Rahul.
So when
Yes.
when your interest was to reinvent a particular family,
Yes.
did you have the time to work for the party? Because the original thought is flawed.
Yes.
I still say it is flawed that if there is no family, there is no Congress. If this is the condition of the Congress today, then it should be disbanded, as Mahatma Gandhi said.
Right.
It should be
Absolutely.
disbanded because
After the-
Congress was a party of ideology.
Ideology.
It was not a party of Nehru Gandhi.
Yes,
It was
absolutely.
based on ideology. That was
Very,
that is Swaraj.
Very important points there, Kartikeya. But I want to bring in Kiran. He's been patiently listening to our debate. But Kiran, you were on the ground of all places in Tamil Nadu, where you saw the BJP booth workers there going house to house. Tamil Nadu is not known for any BJP presence, right? You have barely won 2 seats there. But tell us what you saw on the ground there and whether the booth workers have managed to make a dent into the BJP, the DMK's monolithic structure in Tamil Nadu.
BJP has been running a beautiful idea with the concept that one booth, 10 youth.
Right.
So there has to be 10 youths per booth, and these 10 people will manage the booth. They will contact the voters there. There are 1,000 to 1,100 voters per
Yes.
booth, and the BJP workers have been given a task to reach out to each and every voter.
Right.
So here, what they have done in Tamil Nadu, I found them very enthusiastic. They have formed committees at the booth level.
Right.
So one will take care of the management, one will take care of the logistic part of things, one will take care of preparing the voter list, and one will find out the ideas how to reach out to the voters. So the BJP workers on the ground, they are working very enthusiastically with one soul that they have to reach to every single voter, which
Right.
they could not do in earlier days. And
Right.
why this change has happened? Because they know that this is the right time to win the people's heart and to reach to the every people when the time needs. Because the Modi's charisma is there. And
Yes.
using Modi's charisma, this is the right time to expand the party in a state where it has been the weakest organization so far. That was the scene in Tamil Nadu. But again,
Yes.
here, when we talk about Tamil Nadu itself, the BJP is trying to replace the ADMK as the
Yes.
principal opposition party. That is their goal. They are not trying to defeat the DMK. They have a bigger role
Right.
to play, but
Right.
their target, immediate target, is
Is to replace the
ADMK as the
AIDMK.
principal opposition
Absolutely,
party.
yes. And the BJP juggernaut on full steam ahead with Prime Minister Modi leading the charge. I'd like to thank Professor Puranik, Banuchandar, my colleague Kiran Tare, and of course Kartikeya Sharma for joining us on this very interesting debate. Of course, for more on this story, you can watch Kiran's story on the BJP's electoral machinery, the booth nuts. Download the News9 Plus app and watch this story.
Streaming on News9 Plus. News is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.